Hi guys, Dan's kindly asked me to do the Friday hints and tips now. I know it's Thursday, but with Easter being tomorrow, as a video blog. So this is my first attempt. So here goes. It might not be the best, but we'll give it a go. What he's asked me to do this week is to look at lesson preparation, how we prepare for our lessons, what we need to know before we get to the schools to do our curriculum, after school clubs, dinner clubs, or even in weekend clubs, and also what we might need to do on the day of the lesson, during our lessons, and also just before we start our lessons. So things we might need to know before the lesson starts, before we get to the school, before we've even met the head teachers or the teachers there. Things we need to know are different things such as sizes of the classes you're going to be dealing with. You might be able to ask the school for ability of the classes that you're dealing with. They might have done PE before, might have levelling systems, might say the class is really high ability or low ability. And you'll also be able to ask if there's any behaviour issues in the class, if you've got any children who might be disruptive or ADHD, autism, things like that. You need to know your length of your lessons. Before you plan your lessons, you need to know your timings. So if your lesson's 45 minutes long, you can work your lessons around that. Make sure you plan for your time to fit into those schedules. Half an hour, things like that. Do you have to walk the kids from one area to another? Is that going to take time? You need to make sure you know exactly how long you're going to have to deliver your lesson. You need to know what you're going to be delivering, obviously. Make sure you know what you're delivering. Make sure you've got plans for that. Take the plans into the school if you know already. Show them the plans so that they know what you're going to be delivering. What else you need to know? Size of the area, where you're going to be indoors or outdoors. Makes a big difference to your lesson, makes a big difference to the space you've got, makes a big difference to the size of groups you can use. So make sure you find out whether you're going to be indoors and outdoors, or if you've got option, if the weather's good, to go outdoors, if it's bad to stay indoors. Some schools might have things going on in the hall while you're there, so you might not have the option of going inside. You might be in a classroom if it's raining. Make sure you're prepared for all outcomes. Another things you might need: equipment. So we find out what you're delivering, find out if the school's got the equipment, find out if you can borrow that equipment. Some schools are funny about it, and if they don't let you borrow it, or if they've not got the equipment, find out if we've got it, and also find out if somebody else is using it at the same time as you. Make sure you're not rushing around on the day wanting to deliver basketball or something like that, and then somebody else has got the basketballs delivering another session and you're stuck without basketballs. Okay, so make sure you're nice and prepared with the equipment that you need. Find out about any other requirements that the school might want from you. They might want you to get the children changed, to help get them changed. You might be in the classroom watching them there. The teacher might be off straight away, or the teacher might bring them to you in the hall or a meeting point or something like that. Find out what's going to happen, where you need to be, at what times. Some schools might have to ask you to do registers. If it's after lunch, they might want you to register the children back in, collect registers from the hall or from the office. So just make sure you know exactly what you're going to be doing. Alright, moving on to the day of the lesson. So you've been into the school, know what's going to happen, you've contacted them. So the day of the lesson, you want to arrive a good 20 minutes before the lesson starts. It gives you time to sign in, set anything you need to up, speak to the teacher who you might be working with, or speak to the head teacher even. So make sure you're there nice and early, get yourself organised. Also gives a good impression off to the staff at the school. Start of the lesson, make sure you've got the lesson objectives, what your lesson is going to involve. Make sure you tell the children what they're going to be doing. Good way to get children to remember lesson objectives is to get them to repeat it. So if your lesson objective is to catch with two, say we're going to learn to catch with two hands, tell the children, right, can you repeat that? Right guys, we're going to catch with two hands today. Get them to repeat it, keep getting them to repeat it. They'll remember it better if they're saying it. Works really well with Key Stage 1 because their vocabulary and speech is in the development stage still. So keep reinforcing it with them. Helps their vocab, helps their speaking, and it also helps with them to remember it. Okay. Another good way to use it is whiteboards. If you've got whiteboards in your hall, or if you've got the portable ones you can carry outside, use whiteboards, write the lesson objectives on it, write keywords on it, and then when you're doing the plenary at the end, either rub it off or turn it round, see how many of those keywords and the lesson objectives that the class can remember. They should remember quite a few if they've been on there all the time, especially the Key Stage 2 children. They'll be able to read the long words and stuff like that, so they'll really understand and should get all of the ones that were on there if they've been up for a 45-minute or an hour lesson. Finally, make sure you know what's happening after the lesson. Just as important as before, if we said that you're going to collect the class, so you're going to watch them get changed, find out what you've got to do with them after. If the lesson finishes and you're just sat in the hall and nobody's coming for them, have you got to take them to a classroom? Have you got to get them back changed into the school things? Have you got to take them somewhere else? Is a teacher collecting them? So make sure you find out what's happening after your lesson's finished. If you are starting a new school, finally, if you are starting a new school after the holidays, make sure you allow enough time to prepare. Don't just leave it to the day and then try and get into school on the day half an hour before, an hour before. It's not enough time. Ring the school up, ask them if you can have a visit. Only take you 20 minutes while you're there. Head teacher will probably take you around so you can ask any questions you like to them. Speak to the head teacher. She could give you a tour of the school. She'll tell you what classes you're doing. You might even get in to go and meet the classes, introduce yourself, and it'll give you a good idea of what space you've got before you start your planning. Okay, if you've not done that yet, after half term, get it done. After Easter, get it done straight away. Gives you plenty of time for your planning. Right, guys, that's it for this week. I hope you have a good Easter, and I'll see you all soon.